Stir Crazy by Lucas Sanchez. Janie, a prim and proper, uninteresting functionary for a government agency no one had ever heard of or cared about, sat at her desk, and it was lunchtime. She always brought the same thing every day. It was a simple ham and cheese wrap rolled together with a single leaf of lettuce. To spice it up, she included a small wax-covered wheel of pepper jack cheese. According to her food choices, she considered this healthier than the salted, overly processed food in the fluorescent-lit cafeteria. As was her habit, she forced herself to only have water to drink, as anything else would be too flavorful for her bland palate. She slowly chewed, always 32 times with each bite, and on this particular 30-second mastication, she suddenly had an epiphany. Her life was in fact quite boring. Had she really been in the top 10th of her class? Had she really gone to college and again exceeded expectations by obtaining a degree in data analysis only to continue and pursue a master's in data analytics, thus landing her in the most lifeless and tiresome monochromatic career one could imagine? And she only made $53,000 a year. What was she doing? Why did she drive a brown sedan? Her secret heart's desire was to own a red Mustang. Why did she passively put up with her fat balding pudge of a boss, who always had unrealistic expectations of deadlines for arbitrary reports? Only one-dimensional people like herself would even bother to read them. No, she was not one-dimensional. Surely, she was not. No, this has to stop. I can't do this anymore. I have got to break free. She spoke so loudly, everybody's timid heads poked out of their cubicles to see what was going on. Sorry, she said, I'm a little emotional today. The other workers acknowledged her with nods and retreated behind their gray-colored burlap-textured safety partitions. Stir Crazy passed through her lips, and then suddenly she had an impromptu idea. She would act out, do little things first to mix up everything. She would go against the status quo and bend the parameters. And there was one person she knew would help her. She had a reflection of her childhood, her adolescent imaginary friend, Weasel the Weasel, and like that, like a door opening up, he appeared before her. Janie, long time. So good to see you. Janie gleed with joy. It was her mischievous old friend, the Weasel, himself. Weasel. So good to see you too. Weasel. Listen, I'm going crazy. I might be having a nervous breakdown. You got to help me, before I lose my mind. Oh, Janie, what do you want to do first? I'm game. You know me. Well, I was thinking about borrowing a pen and not returning it. Janie, really? Let's think in bigger terms. How about we go to the cafeteria first and get you some caffeine? Okay, she said with excitement, then realized her lunch break was almost over. Wait, I can't. Janie, Weasel grabbed her by the arm. But you can, and you will. I have all kinds of ideas for you today. Follow my lead, and he stepped into her. After Janie retrieved a sweet tea, she intentionally arrived back late from lunch. And the fat balding pudge looked at her but chose not to chide her about the tardiness. However, he did mention the tea. Janie, is everything okay? I thought you didn't drink caffeine? Ah, she said, rules are made to be broken. Such as when I used the bathroom. I absolutely did not flush the toilet. I left it floating. I'm sure someone's going to have an unpleasant surprise, she laughed. The fat balding pudge raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. Quite frankly, he didn't know what to say about that, and walked away, but then doubled around. I need that metrics report pronto. I need to get familiar with it for the meeting tomorrow afternoon. Actually, she stated, I think I am going to use my computer to look up this year's models of Mustang GTs. I think I'm far overdue for an upgrade. The report can wait. Fat balding pudge looked at her with an expression of shock. What's gotten into you? He questioned. Oh, I'm just kidding, she said, that's already on your desk. Ah, Fat Balding Pudge said. Well, I guess it goes without saying, you're not to use the Department of Redundancy Department's internet for personal matters. Yeah, about that. Well, I have been looking up symptoms of high blood pressure, and while I'm no doctor, WebMD is pretty sure you got it. So that's totally not about me. It's all about your fat balding pudge. All the employees poked their heads out of their cubicles again, each with a look of astonishment. Huh! Fat Balding Pudge murmured, as he turned 3 shades of red, have you had too much caffeine? Or have you lost your ever-loving mind? Oh, she said, actually I've just been working on a comedy routine, and you're actually the source material. Weasel laughed out loud in her head, and said, now, let's wrap this up. I beg your pardon, young lady. I think you should pack your stuff. Hey, she said, since I have career tenure, and a lot of days stored up, I rather believe I will take a vacation, go to a tropical island, and buy a Mustang. I'll let HR know. And she walked out with the intention of going to Gary Roberts' Ford dealership.